right? Then, okay, looking at the up page, what we have on page 7, the Saturday Telegraph. All right, then looking at the next paper that we are looking at today, which is talking about the Guardian. Let's see what the Guardian is leading with on the top story on the front page of the Guardian this morning. Food inflation fears resonate over Middle East crisis. Food inflation fears resonate over Middle East crisis. I mean, the Guardian and Nigerian articles about food inflation fears over the Middle East crisis explain how conflict in the region could push global food price higher, creating concern for countries like Nigeria. Here's how the crisis linked to food inflation. Disruption of global food supply routes. Disruption of global food supply route. Talking about many food commodities pass through important shipping lanes in the Middle East, especially the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. If conflict disrupts this route, ships may delay or reroute. Then we also have transport cost increase. Global food supply becomes tighter. They're talking about the link where this food supply majorly come through, which is talking about the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. If this channel is being disrupted, the ship may delay in the reroutes, and the transport costs will be increased also. Talking about the global food supply becomes tighter also. Then this can cause higher food price worldwide. Then rising energy price, increased food costs. She's talking about the food inflation fears resonates over Middle East crisis. The front page of the Guardian. Then we also have rising energy price food. All right. Rising energy price, increased food costs. Conflict in the Middle East often push oil prices up. Since fuel is needed for farming machinery, fertilizer production, transportation of food. We need fuel for virtually everything that we do. We need fuel for our cars. We need fuel for our businesses. We need fuel for transportation. It's already affecting every mechanism. It's affecting every sector. Because of the rise of energy price, of increase in food costs. Conflict in the Middle East often push up oil prices. Then we also have fertilizer supply risk. Some countries linked to the regions are major producers of fertilizers and agricultural inputs. If supply chains are disrupted, farmers around the world may face higher fertilizer costs, lower crop yield. Then we also have impacts on food importing countries like Nigeria. Nigeria imports several food products and agricultural inputs. Talking about because of these, global disruption can cause higher import bills, pressure on the naira, rising food prices in local markets. These are the major cause of food inflation in the country due to the Middle East crisis. Import of food in the importing of food country in Nigeria. Nigeria imports several food products and agricultural input. Because of this global disruption can cause higher import bills. Looking at the higher import bills where you have to pay double because of what is going on, because definitely it's not going to be taken lightly for the business sector, because they have to pay triple and double for their businesses, for their livelihood, and for their movements. You have to pay extra because of the Middle East crisis already affecting each and every environ of the sector in Nigeria presently here. Then also, looking at the front page where we have on page 8 and page 9, still on the Guardian newspaper this morning, how proliferation of non-variable airports drains public resource. How proliferation of non-variable airports drains public resource. That is coming on the front page of the Guardian. Then we also have Lee Sherebo, forgotten in the wilderness. Lee Sherebo, that is the caption, forgotten in the wilderness, coming on the front page of the Guardian this morning. I said Lee Sherebo, forgotten in the wilderness. All right, quickly grab that to see what happened, why the Sherebo is being forgotten in the wilderness. Then still moving on further, on page 5, still on the Guardian, where we have Commuters decry 30%. BRT fares hike amid overcrowding delay poor services. All right, that is coming on, see on the front page of The Guardian this morning. Then looking at page 3 of The Guardian, where we have alleged 8.7 billion fraud. Malami's son operated Rihan Hotel account. EFCC witness. All right, alleged 8.7 billion fraud. Malami's son operated Rihan Hotel account. EFCC witness. All right, let's quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue from the rest of this newspaper. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
Why is IDEA TV the premier African innovation television?
Africa's scientific, technological, and entrepreneurial progress and challenges have not always been narrated from within due to financial, leadership, coordination, and capacity challenges, as well as overdependence on external aid.
IDEA stands for Innovation, Development, and Entrepreneurship in Africa.
IDEA TV shares and creates awareness about the activities, progress, challenges, and opportunity institutions, researchers, students, innovators, entrepreneurs, and policymakers, and how they contribute to development.
We promote STEM education, bring science to society, address formal and informal sector innovations, and address unique African developmental issues. We partner with local and global institutions and communities, public and private sectors, NGOs, and donors driving innovation in Africa. We communicate ideas. Our impact? We make evidence and innovation outcomes understandable, useful, and accessible to society. We translate questions, findings, and evidence into stories for communities and policymakers to understand and use. We build capacity for science journalism and innovation in general. Our work facilitates policy around science, technology, and societal. We help to advance knowledge-based economic development. Follow us on all socials at IDEA Television.
Why is
All right, Isi, glad to have you back on the IDEA newspaper review segment. Still talking about the newspaper review that we brought across your way today. Still talking about The Guardian. On the front page of The Guardian, where we have on page 2 of The Guardian, finally, Tinubu releases ambassadorial posting. Talking about page 2 of The Guardian. Finally, Tinubu releases ambassadorial posting. Names envoy to Israel. Postfani Kayode to Germany, Omokri to Mexico. That's talking about the down page of page 2 of The Guardian. Then we also have Nigerian oil grade hits $90 per barrel, push 900 to 183.3 billion daily. Nigerian oil grade hits $90 per barrel, push earning to 186.3 billion daily. That is still coming on the front page of The Guardian this morning. We also have more refineries shut down. China halts petrol export. Europe just told for fuel. Still coming on the front page of The Guardian. Then on page 3 of The Guardian, we also have stranded power. Tinubu inaugurates committee on grid asset management company. Stranded power, Tinubu inaugurates committee on grid asset management committee, coming on page 3 of The Guardian. Then we will have on page 76 of The Guardian, Tinubu condemns Boko Haram attack in Borno as NAF airstrike killed 50 terrorists. Tinubu condemned Boko Haram attack in Borno as NAF airstrike killed 50 terrorists. Then we also have on the front page where we have food inflation, fear resonates over Middle East crisis. Other captions we have under it: US/Israel, Iran could reverse Nigeria inflation gain. US/Israel, Iran war could reverse Nigerian inflation gain, says by experts. Then we also have importer decry higher freight cost. Importer decry higher freight cost. That's another caption. The another caption we have still on the front page of The Guardian. It says budget revenue gets boost as oil price soar. Budget revenue gets boost as oil price soar. All right, let's quickly move into the next paper, talking about the next paper, talking about the Punch this morning. Let's see what the Punch is leading with. On the front page of the Punch, talking about from the page, front page, which is US-Iran war. US-Iran war, Nigeria loses millions in dashed Omar dreams. US-Iran war, that is the caption. Nigeria loses millions in dashed Omar dreams. Then we also have captions like intending pilgrim laments financial loss to cancel trips. We have another captions like I paid 13 million naira. Everything now messed up. It's painful. This is by Popular Butcher. Relating to these stories of million in Dash Omar dreams. Nigeria loses a million in Dash Omar dream. I mean, according to a report by The Punch titled US-Iran War, Nigeria loses millions in Dash Omar dreams, explaining that many Nigerians loses money because the war disrupted travel plans for the Omar pilgrim to Saudi Arabia. I mean, here is a quick look at where, how Nigeria loses millions in the Omar war. I mean, flights, the conflict between the United States, Iran, and Israel caused security risk in the region. Because of the tension, many countries loses part of their airspace. Airline cancelled flights across the Middle East. The major airlines such as Emirates, Qatar Airways, Etihad Airways, Turkish Airlines, and others suspended operation. They also have Nigerian had already paid for Omar trips. And many Muslims in Nigeria had already paid for visas, flight tickets, and hotel accommodation in Mecca and Medina. I mean, when flights were cancelled, they could not travel for the pilgrimage. Examples from the report. I mean, one pilgrimage paid about 12,500 Saudi riyals, around 5 million naira, for hotel accommodation in Mecca. Another Nigerian spent over 13 million for Umar with his wife. I mean, looking at the trips that has been cancelled due to the fight between the Middle East, that is already causing the Umar dreams, not to, the Umrah dreams. I mean, going to Mecca and to observe the pilgrimage is already cancelled, and we can see the expenses of the naira that has been involved in this. Where they have to spend like 5 million naira, which is 12,500 Saudi riyal, equivalent to 5 million naira in Nigerian currency. Then another person spending 30 million for Umrah dreams, which is moving to Mecca for the pilgrimage. Then we also have airline and hotels are not giving full refund. Airlines and hotels are not giving full refund. I mean, many travelers, agencies said, airline mostly offered rescheduling instead of refund. Some hotels offered a little or no refund. I mean, we can see that the airlines are now probably refunding the money that was being paid, because if it's already paid to the airline. We can see that they are not refunding it, and we can see what is already costing on ground. Then Ramadan period increased the losses. Umrah is performed all years, but millions of Muslims prefer to perform it during Ramadan, especially the last 10 years. And so many Nigerians has already booked expensive travel package for this period before the war disrupted flights. All right, that is talking about the front page of the Iran war, how Nigeria loses millions in Dash Umrah trips. All right, quick look now still on the front page of the Punch, where we have on page 5, ADC kicks as President post 65 ambassador. ADC kicked as President post 65 ambassadors. Then still on the front page, where we have on page 4, 2027, 4 ministers to quit Tinubu cabinet. 2027, 4 ministers to quit Tinubu's cabinet. We'll still come into that. Then we also have still on the front page of the Punch, where we have on page on the down page, in the still the middle page 21 of the Punch, slice for profit, deadly rise of fraudulent surgeries in hospitals. Slice for profit, deadly rise of fraudulent surgeries in hospitals. Then we also have on still on the front page, how Edo man sponsored me for Almajiri school to universities, says by Jigawa Varsities graduate. Then we also have on the front page, article Obi condemns Borno massacre, terrorist vows to attack Abuja. Atiku Obi condemns Borno attack. Terrorist vows to attack Abuja. Then looking at still on entertainment now, I think Portable didn't beat me. He was paid. It was paid advert. I mean, coming from Portable there and bodyguard to our celebrities. Talking about Kiss Daniel. All right. Then on the down page, where we have on the down page, petrol price to hit 1,050 naira. Federal government set up committees to fix power grid. Petrol price to hit 1,050 naira. Federal government set up committee to fix power grid. Then talking about why did Atiku Obi condemns Borno massacre? Terrorists vow to attack Abuja next. I mean, looking at the Punch reported by why Atiku Obi condemns Borno massacre. Terrorists vow to attack Abuja, explain that two major Nigerian opposition leaders reacted strongly about after a deadly terrorist attack in Borno State and how threats from the insurgents. Why Atiku and Obi condemns this massacre, killings in civilians, killing of civilians in Borno. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Anambra Governor Peter Obi condemns the killing of civilians. Condemn the killing of civilians in the country. All right, they describe the attack as barbaric and unacceptable. Evidence that insecurity is still a major problem in Nigeria. All right, looking at this story, we also have terrorists threatens Nigeria. Report also indicates that insurgent issue threats to attack Abuja, which raises national concern because Abuja is the capital city and set for governance. They also have called for stronger security response. Both politicians urges the federal government and security agencies to improve intelligence gathering, strengthening military operation against insurgents, protect civilians in the northeast. They will also have sympathy for victims. Atiku and Obi also expresses condolence to families of the victims and the people of Borno who have suffered years of insurgency. All right, this is talking about the insurgents in Borno and the threat to attack Abuja next. All right, that is on the front page. Quickly look at that story to see what the story has to say on that aspect. Then looking at why did 4 ministers to quit Tinubu's cabinet. Looking at the on page 4, still on the Punch, where we have 2027 4 ministers to quit Tinubu's cabinet. I mean, the Punch reports that. Reported, titled 2027, why 4 ministers quit Tinubu's cabinet, says some ministers in the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu may leave their positions to prepare for 2027 general election. Here are the main reasons, I mean, why they are quitting the cabinet. I mean, plans to contest governorship election. That is the first reason. According to the report, 4 ministers are believed to be planning to run for governor in their state in 2027. Then we also have political pressure from their state. Some political stakeholders in their home state are encouraging them to return and contest, especially where their parties want strong candidates. Then we also have party strategy for 2027 within the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC). Their early political calculation ahead of 2027 election. Then we also have Nigerian political tradition before election. So these are the major reasons why the 4 ministers are planning to quit Tinubu's cabinet for the 2027 general election. All right, a quick look at the next paper, which is talking about the nation this morning. On the front page of the Nation this morning, looking at the front page where we have Borno abduction. Don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigeria. Borno adoption, don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigeria. The report by the Nations, Nigeria, titled, Borno abduct, don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigeria. Explain why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu urged Nigeria not to panic after a recent kidnapping incident in Borno State. I mean, why Tinubu made this statement. A quick look at why he made this statement. Recent abduction by terrorists. Armed insurgents carried out an abduction attack in Borno. I mean, kidnapping residents and causing panic in communities already affected by years of insurgency. Groups like linked to Boko Haram and Islamic State West African province have been responsible for many kidnapping and attack in the region. They will also have to reassure Nigerians. Tinubu told Nigerians not to give in to fear, because terrorism often aims to create panic and physiological pressure in the population. I mean, his message was meant to calm the public, show governance, awareness of the situation, and also reassure citizens that security agencies are responding. Then he also goes into say government promising strong action. I mean, the president said the federal government would intensify military operation, strengthen intelligence gathering, continue effort to rescue kidnapped victims. He also expressed sympathy to the victims and their families, acknowledging the suffering caused by insurgency in the northeast. That is talking about the front page of the Nation, where Borno abduction, don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigerians. Then still looking at the front page, where we have Jimoh Ibrahim is Nigerian UN permanent rep. Fani Kayode gets Germany, Omokri, Mexico. Coming on the front page, Jimoh Ibrahim is Nigerian UN permanent reps. Fani Kayode gets Germany, Omokri, and Mexico. Then we also have on page 5, still on the Nation, where we have President inaugurate Grid Asset Management Company Committee. President inaugurates Grid Asset Management Company Committee. That is coming on the front page of the Nation this morning. Then we also have on the front page, where we have how Tinubu saved me from impeachment by Aye Datiwa. How Tinubu saved me from impeachment by Aye Taiwa. All right, so coming on the front page of the Nations this morning. Then we'll have on the page 3, still on the Nation, where we have wife battery allegation against members Rock Cross River Assembly. Wife battery allegation against member Rock Cross River Assembly. I mean, looking at according to the report, the problem against began. I mean, looking at the Nation report on the wife battery allegation against lawmaker caused by controversy in the Cross River State House of Assembly. What caused this crisis in the Assembly? Looking at what caused the crisis, I mean, the issue started after of Abat Dixon Agbo, a member representing Obubra 1 constituency, was accused of physically assaulting his wife, Glory Agbo. I mean, according to the report, the problem began after an argument between the couple at a public gathering and later continued at the home. The dispute reportedly escalated after physical fights where lawmakers allegedly beat his wife. Then we also have public outrage and social media reaction. All right, still that's talking about the story of still on the Nations this morning. They're still looking at page 2 of the Nation this morning, where we have why we are impeaching Kano Deputy Governor Gwazo by lawmaker. Then on page 5, where we also have OPL 204 Adoke, his president, demand apology from FG. They're looking at the down page, where we have 30 banks meet CBN recapitalization requirement. 30 banks meet CBN's recapitalization requirements. All right, talking about the front page of the Nation this morning. All right, then looking at the front page, where we have other captions like others rescue of abductee commends troops. Then we have other captions like Zulum visit victim, pledge rescue of abductee. Then we would have other captions like troops repel coordinated attack on military location. All right, these are more and more of what we brought across your way today on Idea TV newspaper. A quick recap of most of the people we brought across your way. On the front page of the Tribune, we brought to you that at Awolowo Memorial Lecture, Anyako tells federal government, INEC, the world is watching you over 2027 polls. Then on the Saturday Telegraph, how load of monetization drive content creation to extreme. Then we will have other captions like Middle East conflict, what Nigeria must do to maximize shock gain. Then also The Guardian this morning, when we brought to you that food inflation fears resonates over Middle East crisis. Talking about The Guardian, food inflation fears resonates over Middle East crisis. Then on The Punch, we brought to you on the front page of The Punch that US-Iran war, that's the caption, Nigeria loses million in Dash Umrah dream. US-Iran war, Nigeria loses million in Dash Umrah dream. Then looking at the next paper, which is The Nation, Borno abduction, don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigeria. Borno abduction, don't succumb to fear, Tinubu tells Nigeria. All right, these are lots more that we brought across your way today. Most of the trending newspaper this morning on Idea TV. You can drop in your review and your highlights on most of the newspaper. If you want to be a part of this, you can quickly send in your email to ideatv@gmail.com to be part of what we are doing here. All right, I still remain Gabriel Matthew Seriki. Thank you for your time.